Reach for the sky. What is good, everybody? We are live from Studio K, presented by our friends over at Circle K. It's a fuel day today. If you're a part of that inner circle, you can save 40 cents off per gallon. I'm not Damon Dog. I'm your host for today, Kevo Post. Damon is out in Vegas, absolutely just partying it up. I think the loss to Kansas really hit him hard. He just needed some time off to go blow off some steam in Vegas. But hey, I'm holding it down here in Phoenix for you guys. We are live from Studio K, and we are also presented by our friends over at Branded Bills. You see me rocking one right now. You can get some discount off your order with code BBPHNX at brandedbills.com. The best way to elevate and style on your rivals with Branded Bills. That's what I'm doing today. Absolutely styling and profiling in our PHNX Branded Bills hat. How we doing, everybody? Happy Thursday. It is Thursday. And you know what that means. We got Erika Day coming up in the second half of today's pod, talking women's basketball, Caleb Love, and hopefully a whole lot more. But yeah, to kick off today's show, I want to talk about how everyone is doing. What up, Kobe? What up, Andy? What up, David? 3DMK, Roberto, everybody in the chat. Thanks for tuning in early on a solo edition of the AZ Wildcats pod. But let's kick it off with something near and dear to my heart. Press conference moments. I love press conferences. I like to watch the UFC press conferences after the fights. I like to watch Arizona press conferences after football, baseball, basketball, any of the sports. I think it's a great way to learn about the game, learn about the people who are playing and coaching the game, and just get closer to the teams that you love. But it's also an odd way to get disconnected from the team that you love. It's a weird way to also feel embarrassment about the team that you love. There have been some crazy press conference moments this season. And I feel like we should talk about some of them. We've talked about a lot of them throughout the course of the season already, whether it be Mick Cronin doing Mick Cronin stuff, Bobby Hurley doing Bobby Hurley stuff. Hell, even Wes Miller is getting in on the fun at times this season, apologizing to fans after his team leaves the court. But there were 3 press conference moments last night over the last 48 hours that I really wanted to talk about. Jerome Tang, the man, the myth, the legend, Jerome Tang. K-State is having an absolute embarrassment of a college basketball season. You bring in PJ Haggerty, you bring in Nate Johnson, you bring in a lot of guys that you think, you know what? Maybe they could get K-State back into the tournament. Maybe they could get K-State back into a place where they don't feel like an embarrassment, where they don't feel like they're wasting their money in NIL. And then they lose 91-62 against Wes Miller's Cincinnati. And like I said, Wes Miller is a coach literally going out here and apologizing to his fan base for how the season is going. Losing by almost 30, 91-62? Losing by almost 30 to that team is a complete embarrassment. But then Jerome Tang doubled down. And we've all had that moment. Where you go into Subway, you go into like a Jersey Mike's, and you're having your sandwich, and you're like, man, this sandwich is not it. This sandwich is not what I initially desired. My brother, you made the sandwich. You do not get to complain about the taste of your sandwich once you have made it. If you wanted it to be different, you should have put some pickles on it. You should have put some lettuce on it, some tomatoes, some ham, some pepperoncinis. You know what I mean? Jerome Tang made himself a nasty sandwich this season, and now he's eating it, and he's not happy. But my brother, you made the sandwich. This was Jerome Tang roasting his guys after their loss to Cincinnati.
Hey, I'm gonna honor Christ like I always do. Blessed, to do this, but this was embarrassing. These dudes do not deserve to wear this uniform. There will be very few of them in it next year. I'm embarrassed for the university. I'm embarrassed for our fans, our student section. You know, it is just ridiculous. We got practice at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, and we will get this thing right. I have no answer, no words. So y'all got 2 questions. So whoever want to ask 2 questions, I'll answer them to the best of my ability right now. But right now, I'm like pissed, and this is all right. Questions.
I guess it's just kind of cousin. If you look at your road and home splits, the last 4 road games have been down the wire, and you run off the court. Just kind of explain that.
Yeah, I don't know. I asked the staff this week that same question, and they said that more the opponents. You play. I don't know, because I followed Minnesota last year closely, and they played great on the road and struggled at home. So then they started staying in hotels at home, treating it like a road game. And so I even talked about, hey, do we need to change that change? But no, none of that crap matter, man. These dudes got to have some. They got some pride, man. They got some pride. It means something to wear a K-State uniform. It means something to put on this purple, man. Everything this university is about and all that it's been about, why I love this place, man. They don't love this place, so they don't deserve to be here.
Just what did you make of the student section with paper bags on their heads?
Yeah, I'd wear a paper bag too if I was them. Thanks a lot, fellas. God bless.
Woof. Oh my goodness. I mean, look, I don't know the last time we've had a national champion or even a tournament team go to staying at hotels when they're at home, especially in the NIL era, just to get some of those road vibes. Look, this is a mess at Kansas State right now. And I kind of just, like Andy says in the chat, that was an elite meltdown. Jerome Tang is feeling the pressure of being the guy that needs to get fired from his job, but they are too poor to fire you from your job. And you saying that you would probably have a paper bag over your head too if you were one of the fans is unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, that was an all-timer. I think we can admit that was an all-timer. Jerome Tang coming on the pod, not the pod, I wish he was coming on this pod. We could really hash this out, but coming on the press conference saying that these players don't deserve to wear the K-State purple. It means something to wear the K-State purple. That's news to me, absolutely. But I'm assuming it's also news to PJ Haggerty, who his play has been so poor this season that I've seen fans on Twitter arguing over whether or not he's gambling on games. Now, I am not making an accusation as to whether or not he's gambling on games. I would assume that he is not gambling on games, but I think anytime your play is so suspect that you have your own fans wondering if you're betting on the other team, it's not a good sign. Not a good sign. We roll on in conference or in press conference updates to Mick Cronin. This is more of a lighthearted Mick Cronin one. Mini Mick had this to say about what he's telling his assistant coaches in terms of going and scouting Europeans.
Yeah, it's life in the Big Ten, buddy. Yeah. I've told Yogi, all these agents are in town. I guess it's the All-Star games here. Yeah. I'm oblivious, more concerned with can I take the Bookster out for a walk today? Hopefully it's not raining. He hates when he doesn't get a walk. But I know I'm dead serious though. His happiness is, it's way up there on my care list. Get me find me the biggest, nastiest vodka drinking Eastern European you can. That's what I tell Yogi. He's meeting with all these agents from all over the world are coming in, I guess. Mm-hmm. Just find some guy that used to wrestle bears in Lithuania or something. The Big Ten is no joke, buddy.
Yeah.
Everybody's big.
Yeah.
Everybody's strong.
Yeah.
I mean, almost. I shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Go find some dude that used to wrestle bears. I saw our friend of the program, Tyler Rucker, say that's how he describes Koa Pete to the people that ask him about how would you describe Koa Pete as a prospect. He's a guy that looks like he used to wrestle bears. And look, I think Ivan Karchenkov looks a lot more like he used to wrestle bears than Koa Pete even kind of does, but I see the sentiment there. And honestly, we all know my opinion on Mini Mick Cronin. I don't like him. I don't think he's a very likable guy, but that was a pretty likable moment from an unlikable person in Mick Cronin. Go find me the biggest, nastiest vodka drinking dude out there, and we'll stuff him in the paint, and we'll see how it works out. That was absolutely hilarious. But the Jerome Tang one, unbelievable. The Mini Mick Cronin one, a bit hilarious. But one more thing on the Jerome Tang of it all. There must have been so much pressure from last season's screw up with Coleman Hawkins NIL to get it right this year with PJ Haggerty and Nate Johnson and a bunch of the dudes that they brought in. And to still not get it right. Like, I don't know what's next for Jerome Tang at K-State. I don't think that they buy him out. And I don't think that he's the guy to get them back to a deep tournament run. I do think Jerome Tang is a somewhat decent coach. I think he's somewhat able to recruit high-level talent. You've seen it at K-State. He's gotten talented guys there, even in the NIL era. But I don't know what his future is at K-State. As a Big 12 opponent of theirs, just keep floundering, Jerome. Just keep floundering. But I have one more presser clip for you guys, and it's another Big 12 team in Colorado who absolutely got belt from our upcoming opponent, Texas Tech, coming on. And they got a good old-fashioned ass whooping from the boys over in Lubbock.
Yeah, that was just a good old-fashioned ass whipping. I don't. There's just no other way to say it, A lot of you guys are from West Texas. You probably know what that is. And we took one tonight. So credit Texas Tech. They have a motto with their program that the toughest team wins, and there wasn't even question who the tougher team was tonight, and that was Texas Tech, and we weren't. And so I'm embarrassed by our performance. I'm embarrassed for our university. I'm embarrassed for the city of Boulder. I'm embarrassed for the state of Colorado. I'm embarrassed for every former player that's worn this uniform. And we got to own this. But, when you give up 17 offensive rebounds and then the biggest part of the game plan is taking away their threes from their shooters, and they make 12 threes, and then we foul them on another one with 0.3 seconds to go into the first half, it's just not good enough in any way, shape, or form. I started my career as the head coach at Northern Colorado in the Big Sky. And we would travel to Bozeman, Montana, and Missoula, and Utah, Pocatello, Idaho, and we would always fly commercial. And you'd lose on the road, and you'd get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You'd catch a 6 a.m. flight back to Denver, and then drive an hour to Greeley, and that's what we deserve right now. We deserve to be on a 6 a.m. flight out of Lubbock, commercial, Southwest, whatever airline you choose.
Commercial flights out of Lubbock. I wonder if they got that 6 a.m. flight, and I also wonder if K-State did that 6 a.m. practice that Jerome Tang was talking about. I guess we'll have to find out at another time. But, yeah, that is it for press conference crash outs today. I saw some crazy clips online. I knew Damon wasn't going to be on the show today, and I was like, you know what? If I have to talk to myself, let's at least listen to some coaches talk as well, because there are some coaches across the country absolutely crashing out night in, night out in these pressers. And for my money, chat, I think it's been the craziest year of press conferences, at least in the NCAA ranks already in this college basketball season. I mean, we got Mark Pope talking about, self-harming, right? At the thought of losing. We have Illinois players talking about the same thing. Unbelievable levels of depth to these conversations, but also you have funnier ones, right? Like Wes Miller being like, I'm sorry, I stink. You deserve to be frustrated. You have Mick Cronin coming out asking for, drunks to come play center for him. And I think that is a wonderful space for the game to be in, where every night I can log into my feed and see some coach saying something absurd that I can either laugh, cry, or smirk at. But yeah, that is it for press conference crash outs today. Like, I want to remind everybody, we got Erika Day coming up halfway through the hour here at 2:30 to discuss some women's basketball, Caleb Love, and a whole lot more. But we do have some actual news to discuss, chat. Some news came out yesterday while I was celebrating Valentine's Day early with my girlfriend. Arizona decided to drop jerseys on my head, and they look like this. Tobe Awaka there on the left, sporting the new space uniforms. The Galaxy Slam uniforms is, I believe, the name they're going with for these uniforms. You got Tobe Awaka Kopit sporting that. Now, this is an interesting uniform. I put this out on Twitter last night. Is this the best space uniform out there? You got UCF, you got NAU, and now Arizona's throwing their hat into the ring as well. Their Brandon Bill's hat into the ring. But is it the best? Is it the best? Chad, I want your opinions. You have UCF in their blue. You have NAU in their Astro Jacks, whatever. Their nautical lumberjack thing they're doing over there. And then Arizona's. I think Arizona's is the simplest of the three. That's for sure. I think it's the most subtle nod to the space uniform. I think that's the one critique. They could have gone a little bit more cartoonish. If you're going to do something silly, go silly, right? Like, if you're going to change the uniform to be something goofy, make it damn goofy. But I think Arizona kind of keeping this with like as close to their regular uniforms as possible. I think the subtle nods of, you have like, galaxies and stars on the side stripe. You got the badge on the shorts there that I was reading is supposed to represent like the planets in the solar system. It's a very subtle nod all the way across the board, even dropping the blue from navy blue to a deep navy blue, like to more emulate the space sky. I think it's a classy look. I really do. Now, is it exactly what I would have picked if I was doing a space uniform? Like I said, if you're going to do silly, go stupid, right? But it's not what I would have picked, but I do think that these are clean. I think they're pretty classy, and they're not going to be a distraction on the court, especially for a school like Arizona that I don't think is going to be doing like a space game anytime soon. It's not like this is going to be maybe I'm wrong. Hey, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think this is going to be like a yearly thing where Arizona comes out with this week-long Galaxy Slam week, and maybe they will. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe that'd be kind of cool to get like a new yearly Galaxy Slam jersey. That could be kind of cool. But I do think there are some schools across the country doing that. It is cool to see Arizona throwing their hat into the ring to be like the space U, though, however, because I think what's gotten slept on in this whole conversation is that Arizona is an incredibly like connected university when it comes to astronautical things, right? The space, the NASA, all of it. Arizona is very tied in with that kind of stuff. And I was going back and forth, not back and forth like disagreements, but I was educating some folks last night on Twitter, specifically some KU fans, some very nice KU fans, about how, they were like, well, wait, what does Arizona have to do with space? And then I sent them the link to the Galaxy Slam website from, the University of Arizona, and they would get back to me and say, wow, I had no idea how interconnected Arizona and the city of Tucson was with NASA and space and all this really cool stuff. And so it's a nice opportunity actually for the university to expand its brand beyond just the basketball team by using the basketball team. I think it's a very smart play by the university. I think it's a very cool move by the university. And if you guys had to rate the jersey out of 10, give me a rating out of 10 there in the chat. But let's go to the chat. Andy says he likes them. He likes the jerseys. David throwing some fire emojis. 3DMK also throwing some fire emojis. Bill says, I am biased. So yes, it is the best space jersey. David agrees that it's the best space jersey. 3DMK says, I really like UCF's. The style and color were amazing. I thought personally that the UCF blue was a bit obnoxious. I thought it was a bit much. Roberto says, I think that it would be better with black. UCF has the best. NAU versus Arizona, the best space game in all of sports. That would be absolute scenes. Does Houston have like a space uniform? I know they have that light blue uniform that they wear, but that's not really like a space theme. to my knowledge. It's beautiful, but it's not a space theme. Do they have because Houston has a good history of space exploration as well, to my knowledge. We got some ratings flowing in here. 3DMK with an 8. Bill with a 7 out of 10. Andy with an 8. Erika with a bunch of 10s. A bunch of 10s? I'm going to have to ask Erika about that when she gets on here because, man. Roberto, the coffee guy, says 6 out of 10. And then 3DMK saying UCF jerseys are still being discussed weeks after the game. That caught eyes for sure. That's a great point. Speaking of catching eyes, yes, we have new jerseys. And yes, they're going to debut, I believe, this weekend against Texas Tech. Whoop-de-whoop-de-doo. But there is some substantial like styling news coming out of the Big 12. They have that new court. I should have pulled a screenshot of it for this stream here, but I did not. Hand up. That's on me, chat. That's Kevin's fault. But I'm sure you guys have seen it. That NBA style, like glass floor that has like LEDs in it where you can put different images and make different designs for half court very seamlessly, it seems. They're doing that for the Big 12 tournament this year. I know last year people were not a fan of the what people call like the laminate style floor. Like it was like a kitchen, like a steak and shake style floor for the Big 12 tournament last year. And a lot of people hated it. It was very controversial. I did not mind it. I thought it looked okay. I thought it looked kind of cool, right? Apparently Tyler Rucker hates it. I saw this on Twitter as well, because it looks awful on film when you're watching hours and hours and hours of certain, games or players from the Big 12. It does not translate as well to film. I just like that they're doing different stuff with the court. Now, here's my issue with it is like, is it safe? Like, it's not wood. It's not wood, and it's not like any of the other surfaces these players and their bodies are going to be running and jumping on all year. So I'm worried that players like Darren Peterson aren't even going to participate. Like, you can already wrap up DNP to not play in that one, because Darren Peterson is not going to take like any risk with soft tissue, any risk with ligaments, none of that in the Big 12 tournament, because it's a different floor than his body's used to playing on. Yeah, don't catch Darren Peterson playing. KU out, Big 12 tournament. No, I know they can win without Darren Peterson. It's a joke. But KU out, right? And I think that there's some legitimate questions about like the safety levels of it. I hope that it all works out fine. But safety aside, right? First issue aside, let's talk about the cool stuff with it. Have you guys seen the videos of the teams showcasing how quickly you can change these floors? It's so cool. Speaking of UCF, I saw UCF's athletic department put out a video of like them going from UCF's home floor to like a road look to like a black floor to a park heat floor to like the whole thing. It's so cool. The future, I feel like, of that kind of stuff is the floor. Like this new LED floor is the future of that kind of stuff, in my opinion. You see the NHL, like all their ads are projections now, like all of it. Like I feel like the soccer, like those little sideline like signs they used to have, those are, I think, all projected now. So this is kind of the future, but I do wonder about the safety, but it looked really cool. It looked incredible. Now, like I said, we do have Erika Day coming up here at 2:30 here on the AZ Wildcats podcast. And before we get to Erika Day, I wanted to mention this. I've been watching a lot of college basketball recently, as you all know. Michigan. Now, Michigan plays Northwestern recently, and are we convinced that Michigan is an elite level team? Are we genuinely convinced that they're an elite level team? Because I know that they have like a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense. So does Iowa State. I don't believe in Iowa State to win the national title either, right? I think Michigan is really good. Not great. Their guards don't do a lot for me. They're struggling against Northwestern. They were down, almost 20 to Northwestern in that game? Ade Mara is a force. I'll say that much. Yaxel Landeborg, force. I'll say that much. Elliot Cadeau, nice player. Doesn't really move the needle for me in terms of a national championship quality team. Watching Michigan in that game, it really gave me the impression that Arizona is still, in my opinion, is the best team in the country, even coming off a loss. I think that they have played the best basketball this season as well. And now, I understand that Lost Highway. They scored 21 consecutive possessions late, but like, is that replicable? And why do you need to score 21 straight possessions to beat Northwestern? I don't know. The Big Ten does not move me. The Big Ten does not move me personally. There are some teams in the Big Ten, right, that I think could make some noise in the tournament. Illinois is a roster that I really like when they're healthy. I think that they're balanced. I think they have offense. I think they have some defense as well. But Michigan, sure, they could make a little bit of a run here. But if Arizona were to play Michigan, maybe I'm being silly. Maybe I'm being far too naive. But I am not nearly as concerned as I think the average Arizona fan would be about that potential matchup. Could they beat Arizona? Yes. I want to make that very clear. Yes, they could. But am I backing Arizona without a doubt to beat them in that hypothetical matchup at like a neutral site? Yeah, I am. I definitely am. Now, before we continue on with this discussion with Erika Day, I got to talk about Iowa State. Because Iowa State, man, another road loss for Iowa State. I pull up their KenPom. Iowa State has losses on the road to Kansas. They lost to Cincinnati, as we already know. And recently they picked up a third road loss to TCU. And now when I was watching that TCU game, most of it I'm thinking, man, Iowa State's been playing pretty mid in this game, but they're going to win it. And then I'm watching down the stretch and they continue to get turned over. Momcilovic is not hitting his shots. Lipsey's looking pedestrian. Jefferson is trying to play above his size. It's just not the team that I think the ratings would tell you that they are, right? Like they are a top level defense, top level offense that doesn't always play like it. And I think what I took away from that Iowa State loss to TCU right after we did our power rankings, by the way, and we had TCU drop down into the D tier and we were discussing whether or not Iowa State should move up into the S tier. That whole conversation looks stupid now. But what I took away from that is that I am not concerned about March 2nd, which is when they play Arizona at McHale. I'm not concerned. Now, could Iowa State beat Arizona? Sure. Sure they could. But I think they've proven that they are a vastly different team away from home, away from Hilton Coliseum, I believe it is, than they are when they're at Hilton Coliseum. I think they're a vastly different team. They do not scare me nearly as much as if we were, traveling to Iowa State this year. I don't see it with Iowa State with the way that some of these other analysts do. I do not see it with Iowa State. I think Lipsey is really good. I think he's fine. I don't think he's great. I think Momcilovic, if he's not making his threes, he's just a big old Anthony Delorso out there, right? Like you're out there to do a thing. You better do the thing. If you're not doing the thing, what are you doing out there? Right. And that's kind of where I'm at with Momcilovic. He was not hitting his threes as much in that game as I think he maybe wanted to. And it's like, okay, now he's just a big dude doing cardio out there. And I think that's kind of where Iowa State is at for me. And yeah, I think that's all I have to do on my selfish yapping portion of today's podcast. Let's talk to Erika Day after our first break here on the AZ Wildcats pod. Stick around, leave a like, drink your water. Do not go anywhere. Look, there is genuinely only one way to relax before a big game, and it's with our friends over at Pure Edibles. Now, I love Pure Edibles because they're not covered in sugar like a lot of their competitors. This is a full-fledged candy company bringing everything from gummies, kicks, caramel-like candies, and honestly, they have like a Starburst kind of a vibe over there that I am really partial to. But the best part about it is their effects are clearly listed on the outside of each tin, so you get an idea of what kind of vibe you're getting yourself into. And our friends over at Pure Edibles, a Freedom State company founded right here in Flagstaff, Arizona at Noble Herb Dispensary. So, go find yourself some Pure Edibles from one of the over 130 dispensaries that dispense them because, as you know, Damon and I, we did the research. There's only about 170 dispos in the whole state. So if you're going to one that doesn't have Pure Edibles, you're messing up. Pure Edibles, check them out. And our friends over at the Husband and Wife Law Team, I've said it once, I'll say it again. If you need a specialist in serious injury or wrongful death litigation, these are the people to call. And that number is going to be 602-783-8841 with our friends over at the Husband and Wife Law Team, Mark and Alexis Breyer, bringing generations worth of combined experience to the Valley with their specialization in serious injury and wrongful death litigation. So nobody can make guarantees in their industry, but there are some promises that they like to make to their clients that you can cancel their fee agreement at any time for any given reason, and you will receive just as much in your pocket as they receive for their fee, even if they have to reduce their attorney's fee to do so. And the best part is that they will give you the full deck of cards, so to speak, full transparency with your case, the good, the bad, and the not so pretty, to let you know how you're going to fare in court. So if you've had a serious injury, call the Husband and Wife Law Team first at 602-783-8841 or visit their website in the show notes below and tell them your boys over at the AZ Wildcats pod sent you. Welcome on back into the AZ Wildcats podcast. And yes, our friend Indigenous Raptor in the chat saying, howdy, folks. Softball doubleheader today against Drake here in 30 minutes. Shout out to softball. Make sure to tap in with that. I'm sure it's on ESPN Plus. I think that's really genuinely the only place to get softball these days. Maybe I'm wrong. But yes, make sure to leave a like on today's stream. It is just your boy. I'm just a solo team. Please support me with likes. I'm begging. I'm not going to get on my knees to beg because I'm in a chair. That's not really worth it. But we do bring in Erika Day to the AZ Wildcats podcast. How are we doing today, Erika?
I'm good, but I'm kind of hurt because you're not soloing it that much. Dang, like.
I mean, look. Do you want to edit shorts after the pod, Erika?
I'm just asking, Kevin. Like, is it really like that for real? Like, I didn't know that. I mean, I brought nothing.
Half solo show. I'm half solo showing it today, but also something else that you're showing us right now. Slam you.
Isn't it amazing? That's so
incredible.
Happy. I accidentally got it delivered to my parents' house. So when I came home, I was like, well, where is it? I was interrogating my roommate, like, what did you do with my package? And he was like, I did nothing with your package. And I was like, that's crazy. Where is it? And then I called my dad and he's like, yeah, I heard the mailman pretty early this morning. I'm like, great. So I had already tweeted about it and I didn't want to miss my delivery on the pod. I felt like that would have been doing you guys dirty. But look, it's pretty sick.
It's incredible. I have a couple on the way. I have Mr. Arizona on the way. I have the closer on the way. And I believe Slam is sending me one of those. So I hope it's on the way soon. I got a notification that it's out for delivery. So hopefully when I get home, it'll be waiting on me there.
I regret not getting a t-shirt. I'm gonna have to place another order at this point because while this is amazing, like we do live in Arizona and I don't really know what I was thinking. Like I'm only gonna be able to wear this for another week and a half and then it's X-nayed out of my closet for the next 6 months. So I'm gonna have to place another order. They need to like come out with a tank top or something, you know? Know their market, you know?
Yeah, that would go crazy. Some beach shorts or something.
Yes.
Nuts. Yeah.
I'm saying it, Kevin.
Erika, we have news. Caleb Love being inducted into the Arizona Ring of Honor from CBC to ROH. You already know how it goes. I feel like this is a huge thing for Caleb Love because as I was talking to our guy Gil McGregor of the Suns podcast, make sure to check them out later today. I was talking to him about this because Bo was like, oh, is he not going to be in the UNC one as well? Like, you know, kind of joking about like, oh, does UNC have too many stars to fit, you know, poor little Caleb Love in there? You know how these people in Phoenix do. But look, I think UNC has, I should have checked this, but I unfortunately ran out of time. I think UNC has specific rules like to make it in. I think you have to be like either a conference player of the year or like a national champion at UNC or one of those combination of elite qualities to make it in. So I don't think Caleb is going to make it into the UNC Hall of Fame, Ring of Honor, or whatever. I'm sure like maybe some memorabilia from that Coach K defeating game near the end of his UNC career is going to be somewhere in their Hall of Fame if they have one, but he is going to make it into the Arizona Ring of Honor. How hype are you for that? It's awesome. I'll be in the building.
Do I have my ticket yet? No. Do I believe that I will also be in the building? Most definitely. So, no, I think it's going to be awesome. I was trying to think about like the words that you could use to describe Caleb's time at Arizona and like, you know, the gritty boys don't exist without Caleb Love. And that's not to say that the other guys on the team weren't gritty, but I think like the band of brothers, for lack of a better term, that Caleb kind of like brought to the university with him and like really like took everyone under his wing and said, we're going to be a team and we're going to be a team that no one's going to outwork. And like, you can't replicate that. Obviously there are hard workers on this team and like they've proven to be team players, but Caleb Love came here to kind of like finish writing a story that he didn't really like the ending of at UNC. And he got an opportunity with Tommy Lloyd, and Tommy Lloyd delivered on every like account that he promised. You know, did they go win a national championship? No. But at the end of the day, like I would still 100% call Caleb Love's career at Arizona a absolute success. And I mean, You look at what he's doing in Portland now as an undrafted like NBA rookie.
Showing Damian Lillard how it's done.
It's unheard of. So I just, you know, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, Tommy Lloyd made him into an NBA talent. Now look at him. He's going to the Ring of Honor. But like, it's kind of exactly what happened. He came here. Now he's an NBA talent. Like, and he's doing all of this as an undrafted. you just can't make a better argument for someone to be put into the Ring of Honor. I'm like not necessarily a super huge fan of doing it in their first year in the NBA, but like at the same time, I would rather them do it now than wait a bunch of years and now Koa Pete's up there and then Caleb and then Braden
totally.
Burries. Like I need it in order. So, do whatever you want, guys. Put whoever you want in the Ring of Honor. Just make sure that Kevin and I are in attendance and that they deserve it.
Now that I'm thinking this out here on the pod, because I mean, Tommy Lloyd like just got off the presser like 40 minutes ago. Like I haven't really had time to decompress this huge Caleb Love news. Doesn't it kind of feel like they could have did this at a later point? But last week you had the 2001 Final Four team come in, and then you go to Kansas and there's like a raucous environment. I'm sure that this has been scheduled for a while in coordination with his NBA schedule, right? But it also feels like a nice push, like to get people into the stadium to like be loud and be raucous for these games. Because I think that having a guy that was on the team as recently as last year come back to get into the Ring of Honor, I think is a great way to get a lot of more fans into the building. Than, I mean, it's already going to be sold out, but it's a nice little way to carry some energy throughout the day, right?
Yeah, and I totally agree with 3DMK where he says like I would have loved to have him inducted during the Iowa State game. Like I just think that would have been a nasty middle finger to the Cyclones.
Like a little vignette of the shot. Like
yes.
as Iowa State gets finished doing their pregame intros, it's like, oh, what a shot by Love. Oh man, that would have been that'd be incredible.
Electric. But you're right. It's All-Star weekend. And I bet I'm just thinking about the fact that Caleb's like, well, maybe I'll be in the 3-point contest next year. So let me just go ahead and wrap this up now so that next year I'm available for the All-Star break,
I'm not, as you know, I'm pretty busy covering like college stuff right now, but I'm not too tapped in with who should have been in the Rising Star game. But it feels like Caleb Love should have been in the Rising Stars game. Like there can't be that many more Rising Stars than Caleb Love. It's like just rookies and sophomore players, right?
You and I are one and the same, Kevin, because do you think I watch the NBA? No, I'll watch wherever these guys go, but and I tap in with the Blazers every once in a while, but it takes a lot for me to want to watch the NBA. And I have no idea, but I know that that Caleb deserves to be in the 3-point contest. And this year, I would let him do it whenever he wants. I just think Caleb off the rack is got to be just
a machine.
Money. Like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. I promise this is going to wind back into Arizona talk, but Devin Booker in the 3-point contest, right? In a down year for him, he's talking about how he really wants to upset some people and prove that he can win this contest. Why can't Braden Burries do it in 3 years? I mean, I've come full circle on the Braden Burries just simply being Devin Booker comparison, both on and off the court. I'm with it. I'm with the comparison. I'm with all the nonsense. So I think Braden Burries is good enough to like, why not, man? Why not Braden Burries to of the players on this team one day win an NBA 3-point contest? Why not Braden Burries?
I think why not Burries needs to be your guys' new thing. Because you're 100% right. He can do whatever he wants in the NBA in 3 years, dude. Like I similarly to you, like, you think back to the non-conference schedule and it was kind of like big Braden Burries letdown, but seriously, like the way he's played up to his competition once the Big 12 play started, it's hard to like argue with the fact that he's going to be an NBA level talent and he's going to be really freaking good because he shows up in the biggest games. I would argue similarly to the guy DB that you're talking about, Devin Booker. May not have the highest shooting percentage on paper, but at the end of the game, who do you want the ball in his hands? It's Braden Burries. Why not Burries?
Why not Burries? Also, shout out to the chat that is way smarter than both me and Erika put together because Ernesto says in the chat, love on Valentine's Day just makes sense. And damn it, that's so good. I am going to make the corniest tweet about that, Ernesto. You have no idea. You have no idea. I'll be in the building. I might even write a card. Who knows? But yeah, no, love on Valentine's Day is incredible. And he's getting inducted into the Ring of Honor. Love ring on Valentine's Day. It's kind of meant to be. It's kind of meant to be. You could say the all-stars are aligning for Caleb Love to get in there. Anyway, one more MNBA topic because I do keep track of our Arizona Wildcats in the league. And one guy that is really making his name known right now is Carter Bryant, future NBA dunk contest champion. I will say Carter Bryant or Kashad Johnson. As long as either one of those win the dunk contest, I'm good. But Carter Bryant's been going off, Erika. I don't know if you've seen this recently. He's been balling. I know these stats don't sound insane, but when you consider the lack of playtime he's kind of gotten this year over the last month, so since February 1st, he's averaging 9 points per game, about a block, a half a steal, an assist and a half, 4 boards, and he is shooting, drumroll please, 44% from 3 on like 4 attempts a game. Carter, hello, he's figured it out. It's almost like this guy showed enough raw talent at Arizona to get into the damn lottery pretty much, even though he averaged like 8 points a game last year at Arizona. The man has so much talent. I did see some Spurs fans about halfway through the first half of this NBA season when Carter was missing a bunch of dunks, which is kind of ironic as to now who is in the dunk contest, about like, man, are we sure he was like ready? Like, does he need some G League time? Like, is he good enough to be in here right now at this point? I know he has the potential, but is he good enough? It looks like he's good enough to me, Erika.
It kind of reminds me of the Bella, where have you been, Loca? But just replace it with Carter, because I feel like he did kind of disappear at the beginning of the NBA season. He's trying to find his footing a little bit. And I think fortunately he's really come around and he's got great teammates. I don't know if you saw his Instagram story today. Maybe he posted it last night. I don't know. But it's just like slide after slide of funny picture of his teammates, picture of his teammate, Carter Bryant. Yeah. And just funny picture after funny picture after funny picture. And you don't get to that point with your teammates unless they're kind of like helping you grind out the tough parts of your, come up that you've had. And that's exactly what's happened. Like, he's been coached up and now he's playing really well. He's been put in a position where he's gotten some opportunity and he's paid it off in dividends. And so hopefully his opportunity just goes up. And then maybe Spurs fans, we don't want to hear from you anymore. Okay. No derogatoriness from the Spurs fans. Toby, I'm looking at you.
To be fair, a lot of Spurs fans have been in on Carter Bryant. Shout out to Juan Serrano, who is also Arizona Spurs fans, like Venn diagram link up right there. I was talking to him about how cool it's been to see Carter Bryant out there. Like, I feel like Carter Bryant, and this is not a joke, if he wins the dunk contest, I think he, of any other of the competitors or contestants or whatever the hell you want to call them, I think he has the most to gain from a brand perspective. I know this is like a silly conversation to have, but I think in the NBA, it kind of matters, right? Like, to have a brand and then stay in the league because you have a brand and people are like, oh yeah, we'll sign Carter Bryant. That's the guy who won the dunk contest. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. I think that's a big deal for Carter Bryant to win the dunk contest in his rookie year. I'd have to look it up, but like, I don't know when the last time a rookie won the dunk contest is.
I also think back to the beginning of the season when all the girly pops were saying he was aura farming, and like, what a better way to aura farm than to win the dunk contest. So I think you're absolutely right. It would significantly help his brand. And I think, when you're on a team as talented as the Spurs, because the Spurs are very freaking good this year, like, I think that, you're going to have to carve out some minutes, and he might not be like there forever. That's one thing I've definitely learned, unfortunately, this season in the NBA is that, don't get too comfortable with who's on your team, because you might wake up one day and they have a tumor in their knee and they're a Utah Jazz, who knows?
Yeah. Man, that's crazy. Was that, I don't know, we don't have to talk about that, but I feel like, was that not, you can say yes or no, was that a situation where
we didn't know about it? We had no idea.
Like, Karis LeVert, he got traded from like Nets to Cavs, and then in doing the routine physical for a trade, they found like a cancerous tumor and they were able to like save his life.
I'm not sure that it happened like in the, initial physical, but the Utah Jazz, listen, I'm going to say this, is the Memphis Grizzlies a well-run organization? Absolutely not. But you mean to tell me the Utah Jazz are too? Either? No.
Kind of. Danny Ainge, the man ran my team for a long time.
Haven't they sat all their stars in the fourth quarter for like 8 games consecutively in a row?
I can't tell you the last time I watched a Jazz game, Erika.
Nate Tibbetts would never do that.
You know who else would never do that? Becky Burke.
Tommy Lloyd.
And Tommy Lloyd. Neither one of them. But let's talk about some Arizona sports. Let's talk about some Arizona Wildcats athletics. Because we were about to go down a whole MNBA tangent, and that's not what this podcast is for, right? It's not even for this, which is the WNBA, which I miss very dearly. I miss watching the Phoenix Mercury play. But Erika, Arizona women's basketball recently took a pretty big loss to Cincinnati, 77-61. They only had 8 available players. They trailed 25-15 after the first quarter and 46-22 at halftime. What went on in Cincinnati, Erika?
Things that are not good. And I'm going to say this. Let's start with the fact that Lonnie Cornfield was not playing, and Nora Francois also not playing.
We'll get to that. Yeah,
Lonnie in particular, is the floor general. I sit halfway through McHale and I can hear her yelling, even when they're on defense, telling everybody where they're supposed to be. So she is the person that commands everything that everyone is doing on the floor at all times. And without Lonnie Cornfield, it becomes not only an unoiled machine, but it almost doesn't even have cogs anymore, because
a cogless machine is nuts.
Yes, she's just that important.
A rudderless
to the
boat,
machine.
I think.
Correct. And I talked about, Samaya Sugapong kind of coming into herself literally last week, but without Lonnie, it kind of puts a whole heck of a lot onto Samaya. Imagine Jaden Bradley's not playing, and now Anthony DeLorso is our primary ball handler. Probably not what most Arizona fans want to see. And Deli, if you're watching, love you, but sorry.
That's what we got Braden for. That's what we got Braden for, Deli. Don't worry. Don't worry.
You know what I mean? It's just you can't expect the machine to work in the same way when you're expecting that much out of who right now is your leading scorer. And then, on top of it, when they don't have to game plan, and they have to game plan for Lonnie, but then they don't actually have to execute their game plan toward Lonnie. They can double, triple, quadruple team whoever they want, really, because the scoring threats becomes pretty minimal. And, Cameron Kitchen had kind of a rough showing. Molly Ladwig had kind of a rough showing. Cincinnati is a pretty good team from 3. And to say that they left the 3-point line uncontested is honestly an understatement. And I'm really not trying to be a meanie boo-boo head, but oh my gosh, guard the 3-point line level impossible was just profuse that day. And so I think that, I'm going to speculate for half a second, and I see you guys in the AZ women's basketball fan club page on Facebook. I see the comments. I see the derogatory questions would you say it was a team building sit out if Adia Barnes was the one that did it? No, because she was here for 5 years. She had 5 years to cultivate a culture. How long has Becky Burke been here? Oh, right. 10 months. 10 months. Awesome. I'm 10 months. Cool. So when she's setting the precedence for what happens when you don't play to her level, or you don't practice to her level, or you are late to shoot around, and again, I don't know that any of this is exactly what happened. I'm just speculating, but you do something against what she is trying to do in this program, she's going to sit you. And I think that in her first season, it's a damn good precedence to set. You have players that are playing a level. Let's, and again, not derogatory, but these players were not prepared. A lot of them were prepared to play at Buffalo. They were not prepared to come play at a Power 4 school in Arizona who's been in a national championship in the last 5 years. That's a lot more pressure than people are letting it on to be. Not only that, there are all of these fans in the building. There aren't a whole lot of places in the country where you get this kind of fan support. You can imagine what's going through their brain. Oh my gosh, are these fans going to stop showing up if we keep sucking?
It's a natural human thing to feel. You're running out of goodwill. It feels like, even if you're not, you feel like you're overstaying your welcome in a way.
Yes. And so I just think there's a lot to consider in this first year under Becky Burke. Do I think that this is going to be a consistent thing where the day before a game, we're hearing that people are questionable, and then boom, bada bing, it's a coach's decision that they're not playing? The one thing I want to talk about the Big 12 injury report requirement really, really quick, because I actually think it's the dumbest thing on the face of the planet, because teams lie, and that's okay, but teams lie. And so you're requiring something that people are lying on. And you see it in men's basketball, you see it in women's basketball. And this is not me calling out Becky Burke for lying. This is actually just a league-wide, conference-wide issue that, in my opinion, is just, it doesn't need to exist. It's not a requirement for any other conference in the country. Why is it a requirement for this one? And people just lie, so it doesn't matter anyways. So I appreciate the injury report in some ways, but I don't even ever tweet about it because it's going to change right before the game anyways. So no to your shade, but I think we can all agree to do away with the Big 12 injury report. Darren Peterson, Kansas, I'm looking at you like we all take advantage,
Yes.
and that's fine. But like there's again we have an issue that doesn't have to exist at all. We could never even be having this conversation, and I would be totally fine with that.
It's also one of those silly things, like on the football side of things, there was that whole drama with Arizona football not including guys that were out for the year, but you don't have to include guys that are out for like the whole season because then it gets redundant. But that's like the point of the availability report. I don't know. I'm with you. I think availability reports, like if you're going to do them properly, or else they just don't serve the purpose that you're saying that they serve. I wonder, why
I would
we're doing
argue
availability
that
reports around the same time that all these gambling companies are getting so close.
Thank you.
I don't know. I guess we'll just leave it at that, and you can maybe put together the pieces on your own. But you mentioned something that I definitely wanted to talk to you about, Erika. Was the confirmed sitting of Nolani Cornfield and Nora Francois for this game? Do we know anything more on that yet as to what happened with that, or what's going on with that? Because you and I and Damon, we were just on this podcast last week talking about, wow, these vibes are so good. Aren't we so happy to not have players sitting and all this stuff and locker room drama? Can you talk me off the ledge? Is there locker room drama, no locker room drama? Are we good or not good?
I'm gonna be the first to say that I don't think it's locker room drama. I don't
Let's
think
go.
I would be you would be hard pressed for me to believe that these kids didn't like each other in their most previous win versus Kansas State. Like you guys saw the bench, how they acted the entire game. They were electric, like personified the whole game. And you don't do that if you don't like the people that are playing for your team. Lonnie plays 40 minutes. Nora is not like the most consistent player in the entire universe of the world. So I think that there's like some inconsistent like minutes there. And I think any player that's playing in their final year of college basketball would probably feel some type of way. And I can't say that that's what it is, but I don't think that this is going to be a long-term, long-standing issue. I would gander that Lonnie Cornfield will definitely be available versus ASU. I think that this is a very, very important game for Becky Burke. I think when you play ASU as closely as you did in Tempe, you want to come back home and get the win. So I think it's in her best interest, whether it was drama or not, to let the kids play. Because I think this is going to be an important game. Whether or not they can get to 10K or not, I think it's very important.
Will they get to 10K? Andy in the chat was saying that they're about 8 right now. We're like 48 hours away from this game. Texas Tech coming to town after the game. It feels like 10K should be doable.
Kevin, I should ask you this because you're coming to town for Tech.
Yeah.
It just seems like it would be kind of a good day for you to stop by and see Becky Burke and the Arizona Wildcats.
I plan on watching that game as well. I was going to actually reach out to Nate after the pod and see if my credential kind of carried over to both.
It doesn't, but I can put you in contact with the right people, Kevin. Don't you worry.
Yeah. Do that. Because that was kind of my whole plan for the day. Instead of milling around the campus like a weirdo, I think I was going to try to watch the women's basketball game. So.
Well, Kevin, we get to hang out. That's exciting. I haven't seen Kevin in person since the end of the Mercury season. Wow.
That's true, actually. That's very true. Now Erika talks to my girlfriend more than she does to me. But definitely put me in contact with the right people to get to that game. Because I would love to actually cover an Arizona women's basketball game like in person this year. Experience that this year under Becky Burke and the whole 9 yards. Do we have any other notes on Cincinnati before we move on to the ASU game?
I think it's an anomaly. Like I said, when you have Samay Sugapong playing point guard and then you're giving Molly and Cam Kitchen more minutes than they normally would have in a situation like that, I definitely think that it's a one-off. Obviously, the loss is what it is. That's not the anomaly here. But the way they lost, I do think is. I think when you go down 25-15 and you only have 8 available players early in the game, you have foul trouble. It's put you're back against the wall kind of, and it forced Becky to play her hand much earlier in the game than I think she would have liked to. But I don't think this is going to be like the long-standing result you get from a Becky Burke coach basketball team, and I think that's what's really important is. And again, the precedence that is set with whatever went on behind the scenes with Lonnie and Nora, I personally am of the belief that that is a very good thing. This early in Becky's career, in her first power forward job, with her first like real group of recruits, like it's her job to make sure that even the incoming kids know exactly what happens when you don't play or act to Arizona standards.
Now, this game against Arizona State, Erika, how significant is this in your opinion in the grand scheme of this future rivalry between MM and BB? Right now, you went up to Tempe and we took over the arena, but we didn't take over the score sheet and get a dub. We're trying to get 10K, but can we get a W in the win column this weekend to set up the men to go get a W against Texas Tech? What do you say?
I think they can, and I think it all kind of rides on Lonnie Cornfield playing in this game. Lonnie is the most important player on that team, and that's not a slight to everyone else that's on the team. She just is the glue, the industrial lubricant to make the team's wheels work faster and better together. I'm sorry, I've been jackhammering.
Really in your engineering bag right now,
guys. Like, you don't even know. I should have sent you the picture of the gazebo I'm building because I just know that you guys would be colored impressed. But no, she is so important, so important. So I think as long as Lonnie plays and has a decent game, I think Arizona has a chance. Like I said, you can't go up to Tempe, play that close, and then come back home and not play close or win again. And I won't be mad if she loses or if Arizona loses the game. At the end of the day, Arizona State is the better team this year, period, point blank. But I think when you look at what is to come in 2026/7 season, you can be really optimistic for the fact that Becky Burke has 3 top 100 recruits. Molly Miller are the 100 recruits in the room with us because they're nuts.
Well, no, the 100 recruits are in the room with us, but none of them are Molly Miller's recruits.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you this because when you set it up like that, it kind of reminded me of Arizona men's basketball versus Arizona State men's basketball, but inverted, right? Where you play them really close on their home turf, and now it's incumbent upon you to maybe get the job done when they visit you, right? It feels like Arizona State gave Arizona their best shot. They're not as talented as Arizona. They're not as well coached as Arizona, but rule is yet to be seen what Becky Burke and Molly Miller, that duo has to offer. But we know Bobby Hurley is not on the same level as Tommy Lloyd. So it was incumbent upon ASU to make that a game, and they did. I just hope that Arizona can make it a game and maybe get the W on Saturday. Are we a huge fan of these doubleheaders? We're a huge fan of these doubleheaders, right? Because I'm a huge fan of the doubleheaders.
I love them. I think it's excellent. I think it's fun. And I think it's honestly for people like you and me who really enjoy watching both teams, albeit whatever the record is, I can't imagine a better use of my Valentine's Day. And I'm sorry to your girlfriend. I'm sure that's
no, we celebrated last night, so I could do this. I had to get that out the way, respectfully.
Well, good, but I just can't imagine a better way to spend a Saturday. I've been asked on 3 dates. I'm like, no, I'm busy. Sorry, yeah.
Whoa, Erika Day, Miss Popular, it seems. Okay,
you see my tweet? Oh, Kevin, can I cue you up? I got a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
And this is not Arizona basketball related. It kind of is, I guess. It'll come back. Did you see today that Bobby Hurley, rewind, Kenny Dillingham will be the highest paid employee of the state of Arizona with his new contract? He's outdoing only Tommy Lloyd, our guy right here, the guy who brought these guys here.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, to me, it makes sense mostly because I'm saying this mostly because if you look at who the highest paid employee in every state is, it's usually the best college football coach in the state. So I always thought genuinely that it was miraculous that Tommy Lloyd was the highest paid guy in the state. I thought that was a big coup and a big win for him to have that feather in his cap of yeah, we got ASU football, we got Arizona football, we got all these other high paid employees of the state, but it's my program that runs the state. And I think that was a huge feather in his cap. But I think what Dilly's done for that football program, staying there after Michigan tried to get him, after Penn State, after you got to really fork up the dough to keep that guy. So it doesn't shock me that he's the highest paid employee. You know what I mean? It's not great representation of our state. I'd rather Tommy Lloyd be representing our state than Kenny Dillingham, but you know, it makes sense. It makes sense.
I'm trying to do some digging on the state of Kansas right now because I had a lot of Bill Self fans,
Oh,
you know,
true.
talking about bringing Tommy over there, and that's all I'm worried about now. And like, I don't want to have to be in a budgetary restriction because
We wouldn't even have to worry about that for like another like 3, 4, 5 years. I mean, I don't
that's
think we're
not
worried about
long
it in the
enough.
first
I need
place.
to not look. I don't want to worry about it for 25 years.
I don't think
Like,
we're ever going to actually have to worry about it. But I think KU fans, they would probably think that Bill Self's not there in a couple years. So go after Tommy Lloyd because to our credit as Arizona fans, we're the guys. Like, you got to come get our guy because we have the youngest, smartest, best recruiting, best coaching, up-and-coming guy in the business. So, yeah, I think we're going to have a lot of that. As we go through the tournament, as we go through, you know, beating some of these other teams, I think you're going to see a lot of fan bases be like, well, we might have either won or lost against Arizona, but at least we're going to have Tommy Lloyd in a couple of years. And it's like, yeah, you can smoke that pipe all you want, but
I just think it's poopy. Give Tommy Lloyd a raise. He deserves whatever he wants. Give him $3 more trillion for all I care.
I'm going to spin it, Erika. I'm going to spin it for you. I'm going to make you like this and not hate it because I think it's an incredible compliment for Kansas basketball in a game that they won to be begging for the future coach of their program to be your coach. We won. We win. We win in life.
It's just hilarious because I'm like, yeah, he really is the best coach, and Kansas fans are like, you're wrong, but when Self is done, we want him. I'm like, which is it, dude? Like, I don't.
Tommy Lloyd can't coach unless he's wearing a Kansas quarter zip.
Okay, bro, who are you convincing, yourself or me? Like, you don't have to convince me. But yeah. And Edgar, to answer your question, yeah, I think Molly Miller is the best coach at ASU already. So hats off to Molly Miller, who is at 20 wins, beat out Utah in the season series last night in a huge win. And I think I've done a good enough job of giving Molly Miller her flowers for being as good as she has been over this season. And like, I know, like, I love to hee and ha-ha about it, as we all should love to hee and ha-ha about it. But at the end of the day, like, it's good for Arizona basketball for them to be good. So I would love for this ASU U of A rivalry in women's basketball to actually mean something, because let's be honest, in men's basketball, does it mean that much for Arizona? I don't really know. So I
for
think
like
it would be
territorial
really fun.
cup points. Like, it's literally just like inflating our score is what it is.
And like, this is no tier shade to track, but it literally carries the same monetarily like point system value as track and field. So shout out to you guys for that. But yeah, I do think Molly Miller is a great coach. I think she's going to be a long-standing, you know, member of the Arizona basketball club, and I think that's really fun. I think as long as the Becky Burke recruits come in and do Becky Burke things, and we've got a good rivalry brewing here in the state, and it's good for West Coast basketball, because the UCLA USC rivalry isn't nearly enough for me.
Not enough for me either. We have one more break here, albeit a little bit of an express break here on the AZ Wildcats podcast. Then we're going to wrap it up here with Erika Day on the other side of this here break. Circle K. Now, look, I got Ayrton helping me record these ads right now, but one thing Ayrton knows is that saving money is peak in this economy, and the only way to do it is with our friends over at Circle K and their Inner Circle reward membership program. Now, today, in fact, is a fuel day, and I, in fact, have less than 30 miles on my speedometer left before I need to fill up. So I will be taking my butt over to Circle K today, Thursday, February 12th, and I will be saving 45 cents off per gallon because I'm in that third level of the Inner Circle Awards program. But you could also save, 65 cents off per gallon if you join and stack your 25 cents off per gallon from your first 5 fill-ups with that Inner Circle Awards. And then every fill-up after that is 3 cents off. Every fill-up after that, when you graduate, is 5 cents off. But today, 40 cents off per gallon for fully enrolled Inner Circle members only. It's fuel day, folks. Take advantage with our friends over at Circle K. Download that app for free. Terms and conditions do apply only at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for more details. We are back with the great Erika Day. Leave a like on today's show. We are wrapping it up here today. But before we do, we have some questions from the chat, Erika. Now, Deborah wants you to give us an update on the Mighty Mercury, but the only problem is I'm not sure we have a league to talk about.
You know, that's true. What I will say is, if you miss watching quality professional women's basketball, on Friday, the one-on-one tournament continues for One Rivaled. Angel Reese is back. Her official return date is February 20th. She's only going to play in 3 regular season games, but her team is with Kalia Copper. They have a chance to repeat, be the first and second champions ever in Unrivaled. That would be sick.
Future Mercury player, Angel Reese.
Don't let Steven hear this, but yeah, I'm with that. I'm really with that.
I'm not even an Angel Reese guy. I just know it's good for what's good for the goose is good for the gander, is what they usually say, I think. I don't know if
that's what I say, but I'm not sure if that's what they say.
I don't know. My mom used to say it, so maybe it's like a Midwestern Southern thing. I don't know, but I think bringing Angel Reese to town would be good for the team. So I'll put my bias aside.
What I will say is Natasha Mack is having herself a heck of an Athletes Unlimited season. Also, you can catch that over on ESPN Plus. They play like early in the day too. So if you work and you're like sitting at your desk and you're bored, you can go watch Natasha Mack, who is currently leading in offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, and blocks in Athletes Unlimited. So honk. And I don't want to jinx anything, but I've been cooking something up with Miss Mack. So Deb, if you're waiting on a Mercury pod, just know it's coming down the road, like as if a truck might do so,
Wow. That's special. That is special. Barreling down a road to a podcast service near you, potentially. That sounds incredible, Erika. Do you want to talk about anything else before we go on out of here while you have the free airspace to do so?
I just want to say, listen, Kevin, I love working with you. You're like genuinely one of my favorite people at all of PHNX, but I do miss my resident co-hater and Damon dog. Yeah. It's so nice to have someone that just gets it,
I mean, look, Damon and I definitely are a little bit yin and yang when it comes to the Hayden side of things. I have a Hayden bone in my body for sure, as you all know, when it comes to like certain things, I'll say, but like Arizona State, for example, or like Mick Cronin. I realized when it came to certain things, it really sounded ominous and super negative, and I didn't like that. And so I was like, let's get really specific. Actually, I hate ASU, I hate Mick Cronin, Bobby Hurley, those guys. But like, yeah, man, Damon is like he has, to shout out Circle K, his car is always gassed up with haterade. You know what I mean?
And it's fuel day. What a great day for him to be gassed up.
Exactly. But yeah, this is Erika Day. You can follow her on Twitter at Erika Lee Day, talking WNBA, women's basketball at Arizona, Harry Styles, all types of stuff on her Twitter page, as always. Also, maybe some bad takes on Sydney Sweeney, but we can leave that here on the pod. But Erika, thank you so much for joining me. So I didn't have to go full solo today, but it is Thursday. We're going to have Erika Day on the pod to talk about some Arizona women's basketball. Erika, thanks for joining me today.
Bye, Kevin. And just so you know, your takes on Sydney Sweeney are the bad ones, not mine.
It's all right. Truth hurts. And I am wrapping up this show here on the AZ Wildcats podcast. Thank you all for joining me. It has been a pleasure. I cannot wait to welcome Damon back to the podcast. I believe tomorrow, Friday, Fired Up Friday, and then Saturday, I will be in Tucson, boots on the ground, Sonoran hot dog in my hand, living my best life. Hopefully watching a little bit of Arizona women's basketball in the first side of that doubleheader before we get to Arizona men's basketball. Now, we're going to be breaking down Arizona versus Texas Tech tomorrow, so be here 2 p.m. or be square. Me and Damon will be breaking that one down. McHale Madness tonight at 7 p.m. Saul, Corey, me, the whole triumvirate, the famous trio of McHale Madness, late night Arizona hoops talk. See you there. And until next time, I guess I got to do the intro or the outro all by myself, but follow me. I am at Kevo Posts on X. You can follow us on the social medias at PHNX_Wildcats, except for TikTok, where we're at AZ Wildcats Pod. You can also follow me on TikTok at Kevo TikToks with 2 S's at the end of that thing. So until next time, peace out, bear down, and go Cats. What is going on with these press conferences? I need another press conference crash out tonight just to keep me going through my day.
We all silly like the mayor.